Hey everyone, Shift Studio here. Today, we're going to learn how to create a super cool image trail effect on mouse movement, all inside Figma. I've got everything set up to make this as easy as possible, so let's dive right in. Before we get started, I've already prepped a hero section design for an AI image generator website. If you want to follow along, I've shared this Figma file for free in our community. Check out the link in the description. All right, let's kick things off. We already have an image that we'll be using for this effect. The first thing we need to do is turn it into a component and create a few variants. 7 variants should be enough to give us that trail look. I've pasted a bunch of AI-generated images here using Leonardo AI, and I'll simply swap out the default image with these new images. Once that's done, we can go ahead and delete any extra images we don't need right now. Now that we have our images ready, let's focus on setting up the image container. Inside the hero section, I'm going to create a rectangle that matches the size of the page. To split this up, we'll use a Figma plugin called Split Shape. For this effect, I'm going to split the rectangle into 8 columns and 6 rows. As you can see in the Layers panel, we've now got a bunch of rectangles. Since we only need one, I'll select all of them, except one, and hit Delete. This single rectangle will act as a placeholder for our image container. Next, I'll drag it outside of the hero section, press Ctrl plus Alt plus G to turn it into a frame, and rename it to Image Container. Inside this frame, I'll delete the rectangle and add a bit of styling. Fill the frame with a white color at 4% opacity, and add a white stroke with 10% opacity to make it slightly visible. You'll see why this comes in handy later. Now let's add the image. I'll drag the default image component instance into this frame by holding Alt. Once that's in, I'll make this a new component and add a variant. In the default variant, I'll scale the image down a bit by hitting K, then holding Shift plus Alt and dragging it to keep the proportions and center position intact. Then, I'll set the opacity to 0 to prepare for the effect. Next, let's head over to prototype mode. I'll connect the default variant to the second variant and set the trigger to mouse leave. For the animation, I'm going with Smart Animate and setting the duration to 400 milliseconds. To make it smoother, I'll tweak the animation curve using a custom Bezier. Now I'll connect variant 2 back to the default variant and set the trigger to after delay. With the delay set to 100 milliseconds and a duration of 300 milliseconds. Let's test it out. I'll quickly create a frame with a dark background. Drag in our default variant while holding Alt and hit Shift plus Space for a preview. And there it is. The image pops up when the mouse leaves and disappears smoothly, just like we want. Now it's time to build the actual trail effect. I'll drag our image container into the hero section and align it to the top left corner. To duplicate it across the row, I'll hold Alt and drag it to the right. Once it's aligned perfectly, I'll hit Ctrl plus D to duplicate it until the row is full. Then, I'll select the entire row, hold Alt, drag it down to the next position, and duplicate again. A couple of repeats, and the entire hero section is covered with image containers. To keep things organized, I'll group all these containers, press Ctrl plus G, and rename the group to Interaction. Right now, all the containers show the same image, but we want each one to have a different image. Here's the magic part, randomizing the variants. I'll select all the images inside the containers by pressing Enter twice to dive into the group. Then, I'll run the Variant Randomizer plugin and hit Randomize. And that's it. Let's do another quick preview with Shift plus Space And as you can see, the effect is already looking super dynamic. To add a final touch of randomness, I want to rotate the image containers a little bit, so they pop up at slightly different angles. Doing this manually would take forever, but luckily, we have another plugin for this. I'll select the group again, dive into the image containers, and run the Property Randomizer plugin. In the rotation settings, I'll set the minimum value to -10 degrees and the maximum to 10 degrees. Once I hit the Randomize button, the plugin will automatically rotate all the containers for me. Let's preview it one more time, and there you go. The images pop up in random angles, and the trail effect looks amazing. Finally, to clean things up, I'll hide the fill and stroke of all the image containers. Then, I'll play the full design, and voila! The image trail effect is complete, all done inside Figma. And there you have it. A stunning image trail effect on mouse movement. You can customize it even further by adding shadows, tweaking the animation, or experimenting with new images. I'd love to see how you take this effect and make it your own. So share your thoughts or designs in the comments below. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Thanks so much for watching.